Hi everyone, you're watching the Geek.com Gifted and Talented program. I'm here with Bob Shipman.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And Jeffrey Wilson.
An old man who likes old games.
And we're going to talk about some old games.
Yes.
This, you've heard of, you've seen. This is the NES Classic. It is pretty impossible to find. It's super rad. 30 games on a device. Really weirdly short controller cable. The controller itself feels like an original NES controller. Now, this is 60 bucks. It's a great stocking stuffer if you can find it. But it's not what you should do if you want to be hardcore into retro games. For that, you need something like this baby. I imported this straight from Japan.
Now, what is that, Will Greenwald?
This is the Retro Freak from Cyber Gadget. You can actually get it in the US for about $180 to $230, depending on what version you get. And it is a multi-game system. See this? These are cartridge slots for the Famicom. That was the NES in Japan. Super Nintendo / Super Famicom, Sega Genesis / Mega Drive, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. And this is for TurboGrafx 16 cards.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, it's 11 systems.
It was a wonderful system that nobody bought.
Yeah. And speaking of systems nobody bought, I have a bunch of cartridges here so we can actually show you basically what it looks like.
Oh.
The second great thing about this is it outputs via HDMI. This is a 1080p picture, which is nice and sharp. So if I put this in.
And what are we putting in?
This is Rockman 5.
Oh, awesome.
Bruce no Wana.
What is Rockman 5? That sounds kind of familiar.
That is Mega Man 5.
Ah.
And this is the third great thing. Do you wish to install this to the micro SD card? Because you can actually rip your cartridges to a ROM file on storage, but it's your own device. You're not propagating it. It's basically just backing up this into a smaller, into a file so you can have all your games on one box, which is pretty rad.
So if you already had Rockman 5 on your computer and had an SD card, could you put that into the device?
Yes. Sorry, what did you say?
If you had a Rockman ROM
Oh.
and had it on an SD card, could you slide it into the device?
Technically speaking, yes, but obviously we cannot condone such things, etc. Wink, not saying it's a good idea, but
Because that would
it's
be
possible to do it.
that would be piracy.
But
You can.
this is what it looks like. Upconverted. That turn this down a little bit.
There is nothing better than 8 bits and HDMI. Just
Yeah.
look at that.
And actually, this is the same sort of look you'll get with the
Gorgeous.
NES Classic. Because it's basically just, we have the pixels, we make them bigger. We don't need to have any filters or weird scaling tricks. It doesn't need to be smooth. No, you want
No.
the blocks because that's how it should look.
Yeah.
And bonus number 4, you might notice this is a Dualshock 4 controller. Yeah, you can plug in a Dualshock 4 or Xbox One controller into it and just use it. It also comes with a Super Nintendo-like controller, but I mean, look at this. It's working.
Could you apply scan lines if you wanted that old CRT look?
Yes, actually. Hold on. I can go back. Yeah, you can take save states, screen capture, scan lines. Not quite as overwhelming as the crazy CRT mode of the NES Classic.
Which really makes it look like you've got an old TV to run that on.
And if you want it, you can run these different smoothing filters. I think they all suck, so we'll just go back to that.
It's a certain
look
art
at
to
that.
the sharp pixels.
Yeah.
I need to map this to play correctly, but let's just go back.
Remember when this was the height of animation for in-game graphics, was that the trees and the leaves moved just a little bit?
I think it's still pretty great.
It is awesome.
Do we have any questions about that? That's fine.
You had mentioned that there were different versions of the Game Freak. What are the differences?
This version is the Japanese version. It's Famicom, not NES, because while it's the same board, a different number of pins and a different shaped cartridge, so you can't actually play NES cartridges on this unless you get an adapter. I believe Cyber whatever company makes this, is going to be putting out a North America friendly version that does play NES games, but right now you need the adapter. This is straight from Japan, although there is an English mode, so you can just do everything with English.
Is there a price difference between the Japanese and the American games?
Not sure yet. I mean, for the games, it all depends on which ones you get.
Yes.
Different amounts of rarity, different everything. So let's see if we can play Barclays Power Dunk, which is the Japanese version of Charles Barkley Shut Up and Jam. Yeah, good, it works. The SNES slot is actually a little bit finicky on this, but
That tends to be an issue with these.
yeah, but specifically the SNES slot, because Famicom works pretty fine, Genesis works fine, but
Now, with these devices, are there any compatibility issues, or it runs pretty smoothly?
it runs pretty smoothly because what this is doing, even if you have a cartridge in, it's pulling the data from the cartridge into a temporary ROM file and running it in an emulator. This is basically emulating, but it's emulating with your library, your physical cartridges. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. The legal and ethical things, don't worry about that. It's the feeling of, okay, this is the game I physically own. I put it in the slot and I'm playing it now.
Yeah.
That has its own value.
Yeah, right. For those of you watching at home who are in our younger millennial audience, this is not a joke. Charles Barkley once played basketball and was considered quite the badass.
I can be Smoothie from Oakland.
Now, judging by the background, is this some kind of NBA Jam competitor?
I wouldn't say competitor. I would say fond rival, maybe. Let's see what else we got. Because, we got a good number of things here. This is actually from my own personal collection.
Oh, nice.
The Goonies, too. Classic game based on a classic movie.
Yes.
Unfortunately, NES, not Famicom. I can't actually play this one here. But,
Game tricked a generation into thinking there was a sequel to that movie.
yeah. Although, actually, the game itself wasn't bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Let's try Sonic Spinball.
Back in the days of yore when Sonic was still relevant.
Yeah. Although at this way, this was only a few years in, and already Sega was spreading Sonic a little thin. Can he be pinball? Sure. Why not?
Can it be a racing game?
Yeah. Might as
This
well.
cartridge might actually just be dead. Do we have any questions, though?
How much are these older cartridges usually going to run you?
They vary wildly depending on how rare they are. If you look online, you probably can get like the specific one you want, mint in box, complete. That'll be pricey. If you go to a flea market, you might find ones you want for cheap. Basically, my tactics for building up my whole collection is just what I can find in stores where it's cheap enough for me to like. I don't go out looking for specific games because that gets really pricey. There are a couple of really good stores in New York. Video Games New York, down by Astor Place. T&J, J&R.
J&L Games?
J&L Games, Midtown. Very expensive, but if you want the import stuff, they're where to go. A couple other places, you can find stuff. But the difference is if you can find it for cheap versus expensive. Just cartridges, these are a couple bucks each to maybe 20. Complete in game, it mostly depends on how rare it is.
You found some good finds in Japan.
Oh
recently.
yeah, there are stores. There's a store called Super Potato, which is the one a lot of people familiar with Akihabara know about, where you can find classic games like this. Actually a bit expensive, but they got some gems. There's also Book Off, which is used books and used games, and it goes back like to cartridge days. And it's where I found gems like this, Shin Megami Tensei 2.
Oh,
Where you were a cloned messiah, and one of the endings is you actually fight God. And by God, I actually mean YHVH in the game. It is blasphemous. It's a great game.
A great game for the holiday season.
Yeah. Book Off's also where I found Super Fire Pro Wrestling Special for the Super Famicom.
Oh, nice.
One of Suda51's great games,
Yes.
where after you have wrestled and gone through your career,
Achieve your life goal.
yeah, you decide that everything was completely for nothing and kill yourself because it's made by Suda51.
It's a beautiful arc, actually.
indeed.
Yeah, he needs to do more sports games. Also, these Skylines are horrible. But yeah, this is what Sonic, this Sonic and Knuckles,
Nice.
and it looks good. I mean, this is the upkin version. You don't need to smooth it. It looks good.
Oh, I remember pre-bandana Sonic.
I want to try it.
Oh, yeah,
Let me
sure.
know the question.
Yeah.
What's everyone's favorite retro console?
Favorite retro console? If we're going by the 10 years or more rule, I'll probably...
Just say Neo Geo.
No, I said the Dreamcast.
Okay, I was going.
That was Capcom and Sega at their peaks, at their most creative output, and they're a classic that lasts to this day.
Speaking of classics, I have Super WrestleMania.
That is not a classic.
Oh,
My
that's a
favorite's
good
Super
one.
Nintendo, because I mean, there are just so many great games on that. Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger, Terranigma, which was Europe only, but still a fantastic game. Earthbound, Super Metroid. I can keep naming them. I can appreciate Sega Genesis. I didn't really grow up with it. NES, you got to give respect to it, but the fact is, the first half of the NES's library was mostly garbage.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That is kind of factual.
No,
Yeah,
no.
actually.
The black box era had some of the great games on that
There were
system.
some gems in Black Box, but a lot of them were crap.
A lot of them were crap, but a lot of them have their charms as well. The Wild Gunman was good.
Yeah.
You know, that Gyromite underrated balloon fight.
Balloon Fight's actually on the NES Classic.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It better be.
We have a question. Do we?
Okay, someone take this from me from somebody who knows how to play Sonic.
That wouldn't be me. You're the Sega fan.
Or somebody who knows
I
how to
haven't
play it
played
with this
Sonic in
controller.
years.
All right. Hit the PlayStation button. We can go back and try.
Actually, I'm not sure we'd be playing Sonic right now. There are much better games to play.
Indeed. Check them all through there. That's how long it's been since we...
Who's your favorite monster in Rampage?
Lizzie.
Original Rampage or the useless sequels? Yeah.
I'm pro Lizzie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love... Lizzie's great, you know, great female. I always love that the Godzilla monster was like a girl in that one, but it's not like a big thing. It's just like, yeah, whatever, fine. I like that there's a giant wolf man.
Yeah.
A giant, you know, that it's like we have a King Kong, we have a Godzilla, what else do we need? F it, a werewolf, fine,
That's
sure.
completely accurate to the Universal movies.
Exactly, right, yeah, you know, we've got a Rampage movie coming soon with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Is he playing Lizzie?
No, he's playing some guy that like interacts with them, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want him to climb the building himself.
Well, I would like to see that.
This slot is kind of finicky.
Maybe he will change, yeah.
Confession, I don't like Rampage. Like, I thought it was cool, it's just, it never held up to me.
Do you not like fun? Is that what you're saying?
No, I do like fun, I just don't like it.
Now, all that Rampage or King of the Monsters?
Rampage.
Rampage.
King of the Monsters.
King of the Monsters is good. King of the Monsters is good. It's got that Ultraman feel.
There is some Ultraman in that.
I would love a good 3D Rampage, like an open world, just knock the hell out of the cities and really climb the building.
Because it has Ultraman, it's a little bit too close to anime, so it throws me off a little bit.
Yeah, it's tokusatsu, a little on there, yeah. I got that.
Let's stick with the Famicom stuff. Like I said, the Super Nintendo games are kind of rough.
Yeah.
But
Ooh, Wild Tracks.
Devil World. I don't know if this one actually works.
Oh, one of the great, speaking of unreleased games in the United States, the only Shigeru Miyamoto title that was not released for the original NES in the United States. Yeah, because it had a devil in it, and they thought that was a little too close to something religious.
But that's something that today's gamers don't really encounter, the censorship that happened back in the days.
Well, yeah, we dealt with actual censorship back in like the days when it would be like, hey, there's a devil in the game, you can't play this game. Now people are all, it's like, hey, they made her skirt a little longer, you censored me. And then that's censorship. Seriously, this was banned in the United States.
This is a banned game?
By Nintendo.
This is basically Pac-Man with a crucifix.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's a Pac-Man maze, but where the maze is being moved around by these borders here to actually lock you off from places.
Because the devil is doing like crazy poses and you can just get crushed.
Yeah,
like
you can get there. Yeah, this is Miyamoto's version of Pac-Man. And I think, because they had the little crucifixes and they had the devil, which are just iconography in Japan. Miyamoto himself is a Shintoist, so this is not major stuff for them. But this was a big controversy, or Nintendo thought it would be, and Nintendo was just petrified of U.S. investors doing anything that would pull their toys out of stores. So they were really finicky.
The whole Dungeons and Dragons scare.
Exactly. This was like the two things Nintendo of Japan knew about the United States was that we freaked out about devil toys and stuff. So they said, nope, you're not getting this one. I'm amazed Zelda made it through with the cross sign on the front of Link's shield, and a whole lot of other things like that.
Well, that's one of the few cases where I kind of like the redesigned, not afraid of Christian imagery stuff. Yeah. Because the Hylian's shield with the eagle crest.
Oh yeah, it's great.
It looks better.
Well, but you know where you get more information about this stuff?
On our newsletter.
In our the Geek.com newsletter, where we'll publish this stuff and get that information out there, so you can know. So you can be the one maybe firing off this trivia while someone plays cool video games in the background. I would like a revival of this game. Look at this. You got a devil. You got this little dragon dude here.
Bubble guy right there.
Yeah, it's a little bit. He's like a precursor to Yoshi. You got these little like Cyclops ghost things going on. Now this is a classic game that for years was out of circulation in the U.S. It's on Virtual Console now. You can get this pretty easily in the States now, but for a time this was the great lost Miyamoto game.
Very rare.
Yeah, they ported Clu Clu Land instead of this one, and Clu Clu Land not as good. Interesting.
Penguins?
No, Cuckoo Land is the one when the little wormy thing is going around through the maze, and you have to like kind of Tarzan your way off of the little pegs. It's really difficult to play. Interesting concept, but not fantastically put together.
I have a lot of favorite games, like just from this era.
Yeah.
Sadly, ones I don't have cartridges of. I think in the conference room is where I have my copy of Chip and Dale on Famicom. The whole the Capcom Disney games, those are games that were fantastic.
They were amazing.
Because of licensing,
Yeah.
you will never actually get them on the Virtual Console unless Disney totally changes their mind.
Which-
Question.
Will, is that jacket made of velour?
I would. What's the difference between velour and velvet?
One sounds sexier.
Subscribe to our newsletter.
Couple $100, I think. Yeah. Hey.
And by find out, hopefully tell me too, because I don't know. But like I got this at Goodwill. It was $17, and
Nice.
I've got my money's worth for this jacket.
That's cheaper than a used video game cart these days.
It depends on where. I mean, the Kirby got it for 800 yen, about $8.
I like that the devil has briefs.
Yeah,
It's a very Jack Kirby kind of version of Satan, you know.
yeah. He's turquoise. It's got
Yeah.
kind of like. Is that orange or red? Yeah, it's like turquoise and red. It's so.
Well, like blue is more of a traditional monster color in Japanese mythology
Yeah.
than like we make demons red. They tend to be like blue or pale green and like the yokai stuff. Come together. I like that the ice cream is soft serve.
Yeah.
You know that it's like we'll just be a little bit different than all of every other pixel version of an ice cream cone. We'll have soft serve ice cream for this one.
And you know what else has Blue Devils? DC Comics.
Yes, they do.
Blue Devil.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Who,
That is
what's
a
his
deep
power
cut.
again? Yeah.
His power is to be blue, isn't it?
And he's a devil. It's
Yeah, he was like the precursor to Hellboy,
kind of.
a little bit.
It's a reach, but yeah, I can't say that's wrong.
Well, a lot of things are the precursor to Hellboy, I suppose. You know where you can find out about precursors to Hellboy?
Where?
In our newsletter.
Oh!
Newsletter.
I like newsletters.
I love newsletters.
Me too.
Yeah.
not
I like to
saying
sit down. I like to receive my newsletter.
Yeah.
I like to read my newsletter.
Whoa!
I like to subscribe to the Geek.com newsletter.
Oh!
That's my best Billy Mays, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right.
I'm sorry to disappoint everyone, but I can't find my Genesis copy of Revolution X.
Oh, come on.
Someday, every year, it gets harder to explain to anyone under like 25 what Revolution X was.
It was amazing. That's
It was great. But he was like, no, there was this band called Aerosmith. Yes, the guys from Armageddon, but they also rocked sometimes.
I'm 25, I can confirm that.
Okay, yeah, cool. And it was a shooter, and you had to rescue Aerosmith. Yeah, because apparently the world had been taken over by like an evil organization, and we needed a
New Order Nation.
Yeah, we needed a rebellious soundtrack of Young Rebellion, and for some reason it was the 45-year-old rockers in Aerosmith.
You mean the power of their rocking couldn't save themselves?
They could not. But you see, music is the weapon. I know this. Steven Tyler told me. He told me
Literal
on the game.
CDs were the weapon. Damn.
Yes, they were. Yeah, shooting. Well, in the arcade, the CDs were like your grenades,
Yeah.
and then they made it only CDs on the SNES. So
Interesting.
yeah, early '90s Nintendo censorship.
Come on, load.
You know where I read about the early '90s Nintendo censorship
In our
sometimes?
newsletter.
In our newsletter. Yeah, that's right.
Come on, load. Damn it.
This is hot power bar loading action.
I'm trying to run Sonic 3D Blast, one of the great terrible Sonic games of which there are many.
Yeah.
But you know what? How about we just go with classic? This is
Oh, wow.
original Super Mario Brothers. Actually, I found this one for really cheap. With like it came in this sort of cassette tape
Wow.
box with
Yeah,
an
a little
instruction
bit.
booklet. Not sure why it didn't load. There we go.
All right.
This is classic, the original. Would anyone like to play as it was meant to be?
I'll play.
Yeah.
Go for it. Yes.
Now, I assume this is also on the NES Mini.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
NES Classic Edition.
NES
Not the
Classic
Mini, but yes.
Edition.
I
Okay.
have a question, though.
It is mini though.
Whoops.
We have a question.
Yeah, what's happening with the NES Classic supply? Are they actually going to get more?
Eking out, it's been like leaking into different stores
Yeah.
slowly, but this seems like Nintendo is sort of like
having a
throttling
little trouble.
back the. You in trouble?
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
It's been throttling back. Not the supply, but basically they've been. One could think maybe they've been trying to build up interest by holding back on making it perhaps as available as it might have been otherwise. But yeah, I mean, I
Nintendo,
would
you
say-
think could that be happening?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
You know, I'm not saying, but it's a strong possibility. But we can turn this up.
There's a lot of lag in this game.
Well, no, it's like in the original Super Mario Brothers, it sounded floaty.
No.
Yeah,
It's
like
actually
floating.
input lag. I can feel it. Yeah.
You sure?
It's like half a second off.
Let me see if I can fix it. Plug it in.
You know where there's no lag though?
Newsletter.
On our newsletter. We do not talk about net lag. Lag is not a problem that we have. It comes out when it's supposed
I'm not sure
to.
what's wrong.
Yeah.
Game's trash. That's what's wrong.
You see, this is like
Yeah, we got some trolls here.
See,
But
this
I played Mario Brothers on this device. It ran
It ran
crisply.
right through, straight on
Do we want
through.
to switch away from this and maybe try the NES Classic version?
Try the NES Classic. I don't know. Do you think the audience wants to see the NES Classic?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think they do. I'm getting word that I think they do.
This is gonna be.
That is a real Famicom Mario Brothers. Good Lord, that is
Yeah.
gorgeous to see. You guys got to understand, this is practically pornography for me.
Yeah.
This is where I live.
Will you lick the cart for us on camera?
I will
Please
not.
don't, that's
I will
my
not.
part.
You already have the Chobot?
I like Movie Bob, but I don't need saliva Movie Bob cartridge.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
The value.
So, what are your favorite NES games?
Oh gosh, so many. Many of them that are on here. In fact, my favorite game of all time is an NES game, which is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Okay.
Which I think is still the best Mario game.
Agreed.
Book on that game.
I did write a book about that game. It's available on fangamer.net called Super Mario Brothers 3 Brick by Brick. It is available.
And you can learn more about it if you subscribe to our newsletter.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, we should write a story about that book, so I'm not lying.
So, when did you write this book? About
Well, you don't need
Mario
to.
Brothers
The
3?
guy who wrote the book is on the site, and therefore part of the newsletter. Yeah. Who's in the newsletter? This guy. No, there's so many. What's your favorite NES game?
Ooh, probably the original Contra. Probably. I played that so many
Contra.
times. The muscle memory is still there.
It's incredible. Right? It is still one of the best games of that era. I wish it was on this. Contra 2's on this. It's pretty good.
That's one of the weirdest things. Like,
Yeah.
there's Super C. There's no original Contra.
Well, Konami is weird about Contra 1, right?
Yeah.
They're weird about Contra 1 NES version.
Like, I understand Mega Man 2, not Mega Man 1, because 1 isn't nearly as good. 2
Right.
is kind of the best. I love 3. I understand, like, having... Actually, I don't understand why you'd have Castlevania 2 and not Castlevania 3. But, yeah, Contra's just perplexing.
You know what?
So, how many games come pre-installed here?
30 games on this one. You can look through all of them. Dr. Mario, Double Dragon 2. Again, a good reason there's the second game instead of
right.
the first one.
Yeah.
The first one didn't even have 2-player.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Original Final Fantasy. You can see it's not the most fun Final Fantasy to play, but you can see where this comes from. See where
it's the
all of
roots.
these references
Very
comes from.
beginnings.
Yeah, the Ninja Gaiden, one of the best NES games ever. This is one of the all-time better than the arcade.
You wanna play
like
some?
retro? Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah.
Although, I gotta say, I prefer the second one because you could climb in the second one. With this, you had to do the
Yes,
jumping.
Right.
yes. All right, now where can I stand? The cord is a little short on this
cord's
one,
very
isn't it?
short.
Yeah. all right.
A lot of companies have like cable
Okay.
extenders and wireless dongles. I think Nyko has them, and just a bunch of different guys. But the default one, it's like 2.5 feet.
Do we get the cool intro? Oh, we missed the intro. Okay.
Probably because it hit start.
Oh, right.
But I gotta say about the controller, even though the cable is really short, it feels like Nintendium. This feels like an NES controller.
Yes, it does.
And that is good question. Yeah.
Who would you cast in a Contra movie?
Ooh. Can we go back to like
Yeah, we
1987?
need to go back in time.
Yeah, it has to be on the sly. I mean,
Oh, actually, no. Scott Adkins now would be awesome. And
The Rock.
that would be a good Rock movie.
Yeah.
Now, I would.
The Rock and Vin Diesel would be great.
that's a good
I want someone with a little more. I want someone who has like a little more range than Vin Diesel. Because I want like Vin.
He was the Iron Giant.
Yeah, when he's doing voices, he's got range. When he's not, he's always Toretto.
Wait, you
Yeah.
need range for a game which you're killing alien hordes?
You need more range than Vin Diesel possesses.
Have you not seen Aliens?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. Or Predator.
I want
2.
an angle. I promise I'm usually better at Ninja Gaiden.
I'm not. This game's hard.
It is. This is Nintendo hard. This game will beat your ass.
Yeah. Although it is a fair type of hard until like the last few levels where it just becomes complete garbage.
Yeah.
Well, the good thing about the NES Classic here is that you can save pretty much anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, basically, if you pause the game,
Oh yeah. Pause the
hit the
game.
reset button to go into the menu. Then you just hit down to suspense point to go into a suspend point.
Yeah.
And you can
Oh,
save
wow.
to one of 4 slots.
Amazing.
So you don't have to sit there for an entire half hour
Yeah.
to beat the game in one sitting.
And for games like I dropped my mic box.
Does anyone else want to take a turn on Ninja Gaiden?
I will not.
I will
have some, have some dignity left.
You know what? What trips me out about this that I love is that Star Tropics is one of the games in
Yeah,
here because
Star Tropics is great.
most of these games are all timers. Everyone knows them. Everyone has heard of them. Star Tropics, it's like Tropical Island, Hawaii 5.0 Zelda. It was a great game that no one played because it didn't have like a famous license, and now maybe finally, because it's going to be on this machine that everyone is getting as a holiday gift, it can finally get some attention for that. Maybe get a Star Tropics 3 finally. Maybe.
So are these readily available now, the NES Classic?
No, they're still pretty rare. But hopefully, I mean, they're eking out into the
Yeah.
wild, but they're still pretty hard to find. Like, it's the hot item, and
Yeah.
I think Nintendo loves that.
Oh yeah, Nintendo loves the image of people lined up on Black Friday to buy a Nintendo product, and you can never count Nintendo out because like this year it's like, oh, the new system, the Switch got delayed. It's not going to have the big holiday thing this year. And instead, okay, hey, we made a little NES. We win the holidays again.
Right.
Suck it, everybody else.
Well, that's the idea anyway.
Exactly,
If you can
yeah.
find one.
Yeah.
Here are the cutscenes.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
This was so high tech at the time, y'all. Younger folks watching this, you have no idea. We saw like seeing this back then in the day. This tripped us out. This was like, oh my God, it's like I'm watching a movie
Right.
on the NES because in movies it has the text underneath, just like this.
It's like an 8-bit Pierre Kirby movie.
Yeah,
Good cut.
Yeah.
What?
yeah. Just a little bit of that.
But speaking of Nintendo doing stuff for the holiday season and possibly screwing stuff up, guess what comes out today? Super Mario Run.
Super Mario
And
Run.
pretty soon we're going to have Jordan Miner playing it. But first I want to, play some more Ninja Gaiden because this
Indeed.
game's sick.
Yeah. Super Mario 1, it's out today, and this is the first time ever that I have not been able to get a Mario game on day one because I am not part of the Apple cult.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
for-
'Cause it's,
yeah.
it's iOS only.
Yeah, it's iOS only for the first time. The game is getting good reviews, which never happens for an endless runner.
So is it
not an endless runner.
is it a platform exclusive, or is it going to eventually come to Android?
It's coming to Android eventually. They're just going first on Apple because life is unfair and everything hates me.
I feel your pain, bro.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's a little bit. There's no oppression like Bob oppression.
Yeah, the second one's so much better because you can
Yeah,
just climb.
You see, that's the thing about these. We will get lost in this. I hope this is entertaining for everybody else.
I think it
loving
is.
this.
This little spider
So
guy.
playing this game years later,
Yeah.
can you still appreciate what it was?
Oh, yeah.
I had the novelization of this game.
Oh, that's hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Didn't know that was a thing.
Well, yeah, for a while there was this outfit called Worlds of Power. Back when they used to do the book fairs for kids' schools, they would always try to license every little piece of crap they could, and someone got the rights to do novelizations of various Nintendo games. And they put out like this and Metal Gear, and what was the trip about it was all they did was give the instruction manual and like the game to some jobber writer over the weekend, just like a ghost writer, and had him just play the game, think of a story to go with this, and then write this book. So often they would have completely invented stuff in it that had nothing to do with the games because usually we didn't know what the real story was supposed to be.
Right.
You had to play Ninja Gaiden to find out how it ended, and some writer's not going to beat it in a weekend.
Didn't they have a Wizards and Warriors thing?
They had
I
Wizards
think I
and
had
War.
that one.
They had Wizards and Warriors. They had
Fabio.
yeah. Bit of trivia. Blaster Master, another classic game. I see you have a cartridge for it right down there.
Yep.
Actually had no story in the United States because they re-edited it from Japan.
Well, no, the story was like your frog got stuck in some toxic waste.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You went into a cave and you found a tank.
Well, that's the U.S. one. In Japan, there was nothing about a frog or anything. They stuck that on. As it turned out, later on, the company made a sequel to Blaster Master, and without even knowing that the book was not official, used the book's backstory
I love
as
when that happens.
the news story for Blaster Master.
We have a question though.
Oh,
What's your favorite retro game? So 10 years or older.
Favorites. I already said Contra for the NES. There's so many genres.
there's so many going
What's your
through.
favorite
yeah.
RPG?
Oh, my favorite RPG? Oh, Dragon Warrior, aka Dragon Quest 4, Chapters of the Chosen is my favorite retro JRPG.
And
yeah.
that got a re-release on DS. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
it did. Oh, yeah.
But that was also one of the very few that actually came out in on the NES.
Yep,
Like
yep.
in the US.
Yeah. And it was one of the great Dragon Warrior. That was really where Dragon Quest became Dragon Quest. Was in that game, and it works out great. There's actual lightning going on. Look at those atmospherics. Astonishing.
Now, how soon did Part 2 come out after the original Contra?
Well, the first Contra was an arcade game originally, and then it launched like first year of the NES. They had Contra out, and so this had to be a few years later. This probably about 5 years, which is a long time.
Right.
Also, this isn't Part 2. It's Super C.
It's Super C.
Yes, it was Super.
That's right.
Super C.
Super C.
And not Super Tecmo Bowl, I assume because of licensing with NFL stuff,
Yeah.
but original Tecmo Bowl. Mm-hmm. And you know what? A lot of people dumped on it, and it was awkward. There were some bad design choices.
Yeah.
Adventure of Link was a good game.
It's solid.
It
There was solid
is.
stuff to it.
Yeah, you know, this is. It was too early to make this game where you have the side scrolling and the map and everything, but it is ambitious as hell.
Yeah.
You know, just genius. Gotta
You have
love
any
it.
questions?
No.
Okay.
Ice Climber.
That's a game no one cares about.
Oh, Ice
But if you
Climber's
wanna play
fun.
it.
No, I don't want to play it, but it's fun. It's fun enough.
I guess.
Kirby's Adventure, like one of
Kirby's
the
great,
the biggest NES games in terms of size and scope and number of levels.
And it was just weird because it was kind of like the first like HD remake because it was based on
Getting told to look at the
Game Boy
camera.
game.
Yeah.
But it's such a good game.
Everybody loves Kirby. Who doesn't love Kirby?
Yeah.
Do you feel Kirby?
I'm not really a Kirby fan.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's who doesn't love
A
Kirby.
little too smiley for my taste. I want to shoot aliens.
Yeah.
It's so weird in this game because like its limited color palette, it looks like a Game Boy Color game or like a Game Boy game you run on the Super Game Boy.
Yeah.
Because of just how these sprites are structured. They're like monochrome sprites, but it's still a very colorful game.
Yeah. It's pastel-y.
Yep. But we're going to go on break in about 30 seconds to get ready to show Super Mario Run.
Fantastic.
Which is now coming out. It's out now on iOS, and our guy Jordan Miner is going to be playing it very soon.
Awesome.
But first, let's fight Walrus Guy.
Did he just lift his pants up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Out.
Why are they in a coliseum? Like, who is paying to watch this?
That's a very good question.
You know, is this is like Kirby Gladiator?
Yeah. But I got a Maxim tomato.
And there we go.
Yes.
And we're going out.
Newsletter. Subscribe to it.
Yeah.
Yo!